Hello, today I'll be looking at what will probably be the final stage of the comic making process for most of you, which is the organisation of your images into panels and pages with the addition of text, speech balloons, etc. In the general convention of comic design, each individual whole scene is called a panel. Each panel represents a segment of time, so your strip or page will be a sequence of these panels. In the West, we read from left to right, from the top to the bottom, and this layout is the same for comics. This applies to panels on a page and also to elements within each panel. Think of a big letter Z. Readers expect words and actions to begin on the left, near the top, and then the right, then the same order again below, just like words on a page. In this panel, two characters are having a conversation. The order in which the speech balloons are read follows the same general Z pattern. The speech which is closer to the upper left corner of the panel is read first. The speech below and or to the left of this is read second. In any panel where the characters will be speaking, make sure you bear this in mind when composing the scene. Think about how many words they'll be saying and leave enough space for the speech balloons to occupy. This is an advantage to having scenes and backdrops as separate elements. You can reposition them however you like. For text and speech, it's very important to be able to create clear, sharp elements. You can do this in Gimp, but the results are not the best quality. I get much better results using Inkscape, which is something called a vector graphics editor. Without getting too technical, it basically renders shapes and colours in a very sharply defined way, with no loss of quality when you resize the object. It makes for a very clean, professional look to your finished product. If you're running Inkscape on a Mac, you also have to download and install xquartz. This is a small piece of support software which just runs silently in the background. Okay, so open Inkscape and you've got this workspace which is blank, and it has a frame here which gives you the proportions of an A4 sheet of paper. You don't have to limit yourself to this frame, it's just a useful reference point. Import your image into Inkscape. Zoom in and out by pressing the plus and minus keys on your keyboard. To start with, add the words for your first speech balloon. You can type it straight in, but if you have the script of your comic already written out and saved in some kind of text editor, which would be much better, you can just copy and paste it in. Click on the text icon here to begin. Create a text box which is roughly the size and shape of the space your balloon will take up. It doesn't need to be perfect at this point, we can adjust it afterwards. Add your text. Once it's on the screen, you can manipulate the size and shape of the box that contains it. Conventionally, it will be mostly a compact rectangle shape. Now here's a tip. Conventionally your text will be black with a white balloon because this is very easy to read. But at this point you might find that black is a problem. If the background image is dark, you might not be able to see it. So let's change it to a brighter colour that stands out. Just highlight and pick a colour from this rainbow stripe at the bottom of the screen. Now we'll put the balloon on top of the text. Click on the Shapes icon here. You'll see a small rectangle appears next to your mouse pointer. Is it white? If not, pick white from the stripe at the bottom. Click near your text and drag to create a box around it, covering the text. Now traditionally speech balloons are rounded, so let's make this a more rounded shape. See the tiny round marker in the top right corner? Click and hold this and drag it down slowly. The rectangle's corners gradually become more rounded. Now I want this balloon to have a nice black border. Go to Object, Filler and Stroke. Select the Stroke Paint tab, then click CMYK. Make sure C, M and Y are set to 0 and K to 100. The border looks a bit thin. I'm going to make it a bit thicker by selecting the Stroke Style tab. And in the width box, I overwrite 1 with 2, then press Enter. Okay, this looks good, so let's put it behind the text. Object, Lower. If necessary, change the text colour to black. Make sure you first select the text, not the balloon. Now we need to add a tail. This should point towards the speaker. Ideally, it should point in the general direction of the speaker's mouth. Select the Bezier Curves tool, click inside the balloon, click again where you want the point to be, then double click back inside it. Now select tool, select the balloon, hold down shift and select the tail. Now go to Path, Union. If it doesn't fit right, you can reposition the text within the balloon, for example to make it more centered, or you can reposition the balloon underneath the text, or you can select both and reposition the whole thing together anywhere in the frame that you want it to be. Try and keep the text in a neat, compact box. The lines should be equal or near equal length, otherwise it looks messy and you're wasting space. If you're creating a comic in the format of panels on a page, like for example to be printed, you want to separate each panel with a clear border. That's the convention. You can of course break the rules, but let's try and get it right first. You want your reader to be able to tell what order these actions are taking place in. So it helps to put the borders in place so they can separate one segment of time from the next. Otherwise they're just going to get confused. Inkscape is excellent for this. Choose the rectangle tool and you'll notice it still has the same colours as the word balloons, white with a black border, which is exactly what you want. Draw a simple rectangle along the top of your page. Make it slightly overlap rather than leaving a gap. Repeat this for each horizontal border. Now do the same for the vertical borders. Each side covers the whole height of the page. Middle borders overlap the horizontal ones just slightly. Select all of these rectangles, hold down Shift as you click them. Then Path, Union, and they become one object. Save this file, which will be a .svg format, and that's your Inkscape file saved. Now to export this as an image that you can use in other programs, you need to go to Edit, Select All, then File, Export PNG Image. Under File Name, choose a location such as a desktop, give it a name. Don't forget to add the .png extension. Under Image Size, if you want this image to be A4, then set the width to 2700 pixels. An A4 page in good resolution is just under 2600, but we will be cropping it slightly. Export the image. Now open it in Gimp. All you have to do now is trim the outer edge of this border. Rectangle Select tool, select the area you want, which is within the middle of the white border. Image, crop to selection. Save, and then create a PNG or a JPEG with File, Export As. And that's all. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.